Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com, and this is Ask Dr. NerdLove, made possible by my generous patrons at patreon.com/DrNerdLove. And I am here today to answer your questions about love, sex, dating, and self-improvement. If you've got a short dating advice question you'd like to have answered, you can either send it to me at doc@drnerdlove.com or share it in the comments. Maybe you'll have your question featured on here. This week's question comes from Black Dog on YouTube, who asks, can you create a video on how to handle being just friends, especially after you've been rejected? This is a great question. I picked this one because it's really interesting. It's a little more complicated than it seems on the surface. There are a lot of factors that go into how to handle being friends with somebody who just turned you down beyond a very simple, all right, here's how you make it work. What? Me? Complicate a simple question? Surely you jest, sir. Well, no. No, I don't. And don't call me Shirley. Here's the first thing that affects how to be just friends. How long were you together in the first place? This is important. There is a significant difference between a relationship ending, especially a long-term one, and trying to pivot to being just friends and getting the let's just be friends speech in response to asking someone out on a date or asking them for a relationship. If you're getting let's just be friends in the context of the end of a long-term relationship, honestly, what you're going to need is time. Except in incredibly rare circumstances, people don't make the dismount from lovers to friends immediately. There has to be a transitionary period where you recover from the breakup, you get back into the swing of being single again, and importantly, you heal from the pain of a relationship that ended. Trying to make a friendship work immediately after a breakup is almost always a recipe for misery, if only because you still have all of those relationship reflexes and patterns and behaviors in your muscle memory, and those don't apply anymore. Now, whenever you respond without thinking in the ways that used to be part of your relationship, all you're doing is reopening a wound that has barely had time to heal, if it's healed at all. So if you two have been together for a while, frankly, you're going to need time and space and a period of no contact so that you can recover and start to see them as someone other than your ex-partner. And incidentally, if you're interested in talking about how to deal with breakups, how to recover from them quickly, and how to be able to move on successfully, hit up the comments with your questions and we'll see what we can do. Now, in the context of having just asked someone out or trying to start a relationship with them, well, that's different. Not less complicated, but different. The first and possibly most important question that needs to be answered is, do they actually want to be friends? This one is important because there are times when let's just be friends is what's known as a soft no. Even in this day and age, even in American culture, which a lot of other countries see as almost absurdly blunt and direct, it can feel rude or even cruel to just tell somebody, I'm not interested. So people will give a soft no. It's a way of letting someone down in a less harsh and more indirect manner. Women are especially more likely to do this for a couple of reasons. First, women are taught that being direct and straightforward, especially to men, is rude. Even in the year of our Lord 2020, women are socialized to feel that prioritizing their boundaries or their interests over those of others is the height of impropriety, and so they need to couch their refusal in the softest, most indirect, most socially plausible terms possible. Second, women use a soft no because they have a not unreasonable fear of getting the beat out of them if they don't. Almost every woman out there has either had a dude freak out at her for turning them down, or she knows someone who has. Let's just be friends is a way of turning somebody down with less risk of that person blowing up at her messily and all over the place. But let's work from the assumption that no, she legitimately does want to be friends. She values you as a person, she enjoys your company, and likes spending time with you. She just doesn't have pants feels for you. Pop quiz, hotshot. What do you do? What do you do? The reason why a lot of folks have issues with this, not getting told that she just wants to be friends, but having issues with being just friends, is because A lot of people treat friendship as the consolation prize for romance. They see friendship as what you get when you're not good enough for romantic or sexual attraction. Small wonder the guys treat let's just be friends as either the blatant kiss-off or the starting place for trying to upgrade from friendship to f***ing over the long term. That's part of why we get the whole bullshit meme that sexual attraction and friendship can't exist. After all, how can you be friends with someone when you're wanting to kick it up to the next level? Why yes, I do hate that scene from When Harry Met Sally. Why do you ask? In reality, friendship and attraction are two different things that run parallel to each other, not perpendicular. You can be friends with someone and be attracted to them, and the two never end up in conflict, just as you can be attracted to someone who you can't f***ing stand. Now, if you're having a hard time keeping things platonic, well, honestly, you're not alone. In fact, there was a study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships that suggests that while women have a relatively easy time keeping a platonic relationship with men, men have a much more difficult time with it. I've linked to the study and my thoughts on the matter in the show notes, so if you want, you can go check that out. But contrary to popular belief, and the guys yelling about it in the comments, this isn't because biology is destiny, or because sex always gets in the way, or because women are the choosers, or some other horse. It's because a lot of men believe in the worst about themselves and about men in general. One of the toxic tropes about masculinity is that men are inherently horny beasts, and we are helpless before the power of boners. And since our desire to get laid is so all-encompassing, we are supposed to be incapable of ignoring it, and thus, we can't possibly be friends with someone we might conceivably want to f***. Some of you may note that this is a strictly heterosexual issue, because honestly, if this were true, gay and bi men wouldn't have any friends at all. And honestly, believing in this idea, even in the acting like you believe it, is tacitly acknowledging that you have less self-control than a dog or a cat. My cat may want a piece of my sandwich, but he also knows not to actually try to take it unless I actually give it to him. But, like I'm often saying, if you haven't been arrested because you were unable to stop yourself from dry humping the hot woman you saw at the movie theater, then it's pretty safe to say that you can control it. You may be attracted to someone, but attraction to that person isn't a magic spell. Having a boner isn't a compulsion. You can be friends with someone you're attracted to. You're just making the decision not to do anything about that attraction. That attraction is only going to get in the way if your friendship is all about trying to get into her pants, which means it's not really friendship in the first place. I know a lot of you are already saying, look, I can't stop thinking about her. I dream about dating her. It hurts me to think about her with other people. How does that not get in the way of being friends? Part of the problem that you're having is that if you're actually legitimately trying to be friends, then the odds are that you're handling those emotions the wrong way. You're trying to squash them down or just ignore them or otherwise force yourself to not think about them, which is a mistake. Trying to not think about something is how you guarantee you're not going to be able to think of anything but that. Don't believe me? Here's an experiment. Try to not think about Betty White with bunny ears wearing Widowmaker's catsuit. Have fun with that one, boys.
Thank you for being a friend.
If you're trying to be friends with someone and those feelings are getting in the way, then the way that you deal with this is to change your relationship with those feelings. The way that you're treating those feelings now is definitional. I am attracted to her. I am desperate to have her, etc., etc., etc. By changing how you describe those feelings, you change your relationship to them. You feel attracted to her rather than you are attracted to her. You feel desperate rather than you are desperate. You feel desire for her, not that you need her. You feel hurt that she doesn't care for you that way, not you are hurt that she doesn't care for you that way. Notice the difference in the way those emotions are framed. When you say that you need someone, or that you're obsessed with her, or that you're lost without her, you're making those emotions part of the definition of who you are. It's like saying, I've got red hair and tattoos, it's part of who I am. When you change that description to I feel rather than I am, then you're changing it from something that defines you into something that you do. It's not permanent, it's not unchanging, and importantly, it's not something that's out of your control. Once you start changing your relationship to those feelings, you're able to change how you experience them, and thus change how your feelings affect your friendship with her. And you do this by observing them, noting them, and naming them. Oh, hey, that's my crush on what's-her-name. Okay, cool. So, back to this other, more important thing. Doing this not only takes away the immediacy of those feelings, but also reminds you that feelings are just that, feelings. They're not overwhelming commands that take control of you against your will. Another benefit to this approach is that it helps you get to a place where that crush or attraction will simply fade over time. This is actually something I tell people in relationships who develop crushes on someone besides their partner. Feel it, enjoy it, and just let it pass, because it will go away. Attraction is like fire. Take away the fuel or the oxygen, in this case, obsessing about your crush, fantasizing about it, making everything in your life about it, and it will fade on its own, usually without your even needing to do anything, or even without you noticing. You'll just realize how long it's been since you were hung up on what's-her-name. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is that sometimes being friends with someone you're attracted to requires setting some self-boundaries. For example, that means unless you are really good at compartmentalizing, and if you're asking me about this, you're probably not, then you shouldn't try to have a flirty style of friendship, one that you might be able to successfully maintain with other people. You want to avoid denigrating the people that she's dating simply because they're not you, and try to focus on being happy that she's happy. And you really don't want to be making those little joking but not really comments about, wow, this is almost like we're dating, or wow, we'd really be a scorching couple in other circumstances. It's not helpful, it's not funny, and all it does is reaffirm your attraction to her and make it your problem. By taking upon yourself to avoid boundary-blurring behaviors that you wouldn't do with people that you're not attracted to, you help keep that friendship strictly platonic rather than edging into nice guy territory. While it may be a little self-serving, it can help to recognize that having her as a friend has its benefits, even if those benefits won't be the benefits you were hoping for. Having platonic friendships with women, even women you're attracted to, helps build your emotional intelligence, it helps you improve your social calibration, and it helps you get comfortable with interacting with attractive women in general. Plus, like I've said in a previous episode, having attractive women for friends makes it easier for you to meet other attractive women who are interested in being more than just friends. But there's one more thing that you need to consider. Do you actually want to be friends with her? I know a lot of folks on Tumblr and other places yell about guys not wanting to be friends after getting turned down, but honestly, just as she's not obligated to date you just because you want it, you're not obligated to be friends with someone just because that's what they're offering. If it would be too painful or too awkward for you, or that's simply not the relationship you would want to have with them, that's real, that's legit. It is perfectly fine for you to graciously turn them down, emphasis on graciously. If they're doing you the courtesy of trying to turn you down gently, then you have an obligation to return the favor. Though, to be perfectly honest, in my experience, It's a bad idea to try to date people you couldn't or wouldn't be friends with. In the end, though, just because someone doesn't care for you the way that you would prefer doesn't mean that you can't have a great relationship with them. Many times, that friendship will last longer and be more rewarding than what you would have had if the two of you had dated. It's like a wise man once said, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. Oh, and before we wrap this up, one more thing. I am starting a special program for folks who want to take their dating life to the next level. And members of the NerdLove Academy Facebook group get the first opportunity to sign up. There are only a few spots remaining, so if you are ready to build the love life you've always wanted, then head over to facebook.com/groups/Dr NerdLove to learn more. So, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you've got a question you want to have answered on here, share it in the comments. Maybe the question I'll be answering next time will be yours. And if you need an answer right away or you want a guaranteed response, then check out my private coaching options. The priority email service may be exactly what you need. Links are in the description, so go check it out. Meanwhile, follow me on Twitter at Dr NerdLove. Be sure to join the NerdLove Academy Facebook group at facebook.com/Dr NerdLove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.